Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Fireside. My name is Jake. Happy to have you back for another episode from the Richmond Tattoo and Arts Festival of 2024. This is a fun one. This one is with our buddy Edgar Marquez. Edgar, we first podcasted with Edgar quite a few years back at the Evergreen Tattoo Invitational, which is a really fun show as well. We haven't been out there in a while, but that's where I first met Edgar, and we've crossed paths a lot since then. Really, really love his tattooing. He's got a very unique style, and his approach is really interesting. So that's what we talked about a lot in this episode. We talked about just his kind of loose approach to design and how he refines his tattoos as he goes along. Talked about a lot of other stuff too, but mainly this is a process-oriented or drawing and tattoo technical stuff focused episode. So for those of you who are into that kind of stuff, you should like this one. Before we get started, it's cold outside right now. You can tell if you're watching this because I'm wearing a stocking cap, but pretty soon it's going to be time for the Fireside Yacht Club. And if you have not been on a Fireside Yacht Club trip, you should do this one that's coming up this June. I'm going to leave a link below. What the Fireside Yacht Club is I bring along 5 tattooers, 5 artists. You don't have to be a tattooer, but most of them are. 5 artists come to my boat. It is a 43-foot motor yacht in beautiful Heber Springs, Arkansas on Greers Ferry Lake. If you don't like lakes, that's because you haven't been to this one. Crystal clear, big cliffs. You can just ask the folks who have already been. It's really, really something special. You come out for about 4 days. It is a great, great value because it's all inclusive. Your stay. We stayed at an Airbnb that is on Eden Isle, a very beautiful little area right next to my marina. And then we walk down each morning to the boat, and we spend the day drawing and painting and swimming and jet skiing and, just relaxing on the boat. My special guest for this upcoming Fireside Yacht Club trip is Andy Chambers. And if you've been following Fireside for any period of time, you definitely know Andy. He is one of my favorite illustrative style tattooers working today. He's going to come along with us, and he's going to be teaching some of his illustrative stylings. I'm going to leave a link below. Only 5 spots available, so I'm sure it will go quickly. If you have any questions, you can email me, jake@firesidetattoo.com, and ask, and I will be happy to get back with you. What else? I think that's it. Enjoy the episode, and I'll see you at the end.
Let's kick it off. We haven't done this in a while, so I'm just going to pretend. I'm sure some of the stuff we talked about the last time we podcasted, but it's been quite a few years.
It's been quite a good 4 or 5 years, if not more.
Yeah, probably so. So we'll just kind of start over like we haven't done it before. I was noticing watching you tattoo yesterday, and I've seen it. I mean, you show your process a lot on your in social media and stuff, but like how loose you start and then how refined you kind of end up. Like you don't do a lot of. How often do you stencil and prepare on the front end?
Within the past years, it's been less and less and less. I guess the clientele are requesting me more like, just go wild. It's cool. Go free with it. I think that's part of their freehand in there. Just be free with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not just stencil this and freehand this. Just go completely free with it. And how often? Like. Pretty much that's like almost my daily routine now, to a point where like I don't even have a printer at my studio.
Oh wow.
So even if if somebody comes in with a stencil, I'm like, I'm a free-handed. I don't care how it comes out.
Yeah.
It could be a girl's face or whatever, Obviously I don't do portrait work or none of that, but within my range of what I do, they're like, yeah, I'm not gonna stencil shit,
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, it looks to me like, I mean, you work like general to specific. So it looks like you're just blocking out big sweeping shapes. And then I guess from there, are you like kind of deciding like, all right, this is a darker shape and that's a lighter shape, or like foreground's dark, background's light. That's that simple.
Yeah. Like for example, the piece yesterday, that was like a giant cover up and like a whole back piece. He had like a back piece done and I just started a new one pretty much. So, that was actually, I flipped the coin, see how it comes out, hoping my customer will come back because he flew into LA and we did 2 sessions and I just mapped it with opaque grays. I didn't even put blacks and I didn't put nothing. So it legit looked like a mess, but I know my process. I was like, just hoping he will come back so I could do the cool stuff, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we did this second time around, he came back, we did the blacks and the actual detail, like all the textures, all the highlights, all the the accent points and all these super heavy lines, no lines. You know what I mean? So it's like a gamble, throwing your work out there, just being looking like I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, it's a great turnout. It is turning out pretty good.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had no idea. I watched you a little bit yesterday. I didn't realize it was a cover up. I mean, I didn't get way up on it. I wasn't in your booth, but to me, it looked like the arrangement of dark and light shapes. Like I saw what I was supposed to see. Like you drove my attention to the center. I wasn't paying attention to the stuff surrounding it.
So, yeah, it's pretty much like the drawings, like pretty much you need to create your focal points.
Yeah, so jump back. I was just saying that like you drove the attention to like the place that you want to drive attention to and distracted from the other area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty consistent to trying to stick to with my drawings, how I do my drawings. I always trying to create like a super intense focal point. Like regardless of size. It could be a giant back piece or a arm sleeve or a leg, whatever size. It could be a single piece. Uh, I always trying to create that super heavy focal point with either with lines or heavy outlines or blocks. You know what I mean? And the rest of it is like almost like I don't care kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it also helps to connect with future artists that are gonna connect to my pieces, leaving like the far ends of the tattoo like soft edged in a way. That way other people can connect real good and it looks great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of surrounding everything with just black.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah, I put attention to the main focal points a lot, like teeth, eyes, and noses. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
In this case, tentacles. But
Right.
yeah,
I think that's something, the edges of tattoos that is neglected a lot, especially with a lot of darker stuff, like similar to what you do now, or even a lot of realism, color realism, that everyone kind of like just saturates the edges out to nothing and they just fall out and they don't give an in for someone else to come in and grab it and move on with it. It's just like, if I'm trying to do something, I'm working up against this like blob of background space and I'm like, well, I mean,
yeah,
I can't do anything with it.
yeah. Yeah. I started thinking a lot. Like I don't know if I mentioned the last time in Oregon, but I started thinking a lot. Like I see the body like legit like a canvas, and it's not about, oh, it's my piece and fuck the rest. I think about it, man. His body will look better if I can flow it to according to what the other pieces it has. Like trying to think that little extra 10 minutes just to see what we can do to connect it right, so the whole canvas in general looks good.
Yeah.
Not just my piece. But I want his back and the arm that he already has connected together somehow, either by color, by shapes, by flow, by negatives, whatever it is the case.
Yeah.
So,
I always think that it's easier to think that way. If someone has like an existing piece and say there's a sweeping shape on their shoulder and I'm coming around their chest, that sweeping shape, I want to repeat it, because it's like, well, it's already there. If I do it again, it'll look intentional and it gives me a starting point. Like I'm not starting from nothing.
correct. Yeah. And it goes with the symmetry of the body, like if you have, yeah, like you say, you have a movement going up in your shoulder and your other shoulder it's free. I might intentionally do that, like trying to make the same shape and flow into your new shoulder,
Yeah.
either with the main subject or a secondary subject, but he's gonna have he's gonna have like a symmetry in your body, and I think it looks super cool,
Yeah.
And I mean we get that all from Philip Liu. I mean, but it's like that's why it's important to look through other types of tattooing, regardless if it's your style or not. But it's good to observe, what all those like legit like masters are doing, that the real masters of tattooing. That's why they do it, and I think we need to observe and appreciate and execute the same,
Yeah.
They have a reason,
Yeah.
or Dev go away, you know what I mean? Fuck. He thinks about all of that, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure. And yeah, I think we can do it in other elements, like not elements in other styles,
Yes.
So I'm trying to implement that, that movement and flow and connecting to other existing pieces for the best of the body canvas.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and it's interesting because stylistically, you're pretty different from either Philip Liu or Jeff Gogwe. They have a very like traditional type of style, but those elements of like repeating shapes, or like you even mentioned like trying to use really bold edges where you're trying to focus attention like in a very traditional tattoo manner, right?
yeah, I feel like it's like literally it's like the same execution, just different style. But it's like the same, like big shapes of shading, big shapes of black, big shape for forms or whatever, but it's the same thing, but just different style, but thanks to them, Shege, I remember I drove 8 hours from LA to San Francisco, like 15 years ago just to see Shege Tattoo. and he hit me, I just drove that just to see him tattoo for 2 hours and drove back,
Oh, yeah.
and he opened my mind to like, oh fuck, that's why all these big open spaces are just shading, so the fucking fish, it looks like he wants to jump out of the back. You see what I mean? So I was like, aha,
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why it's good to still credit those kind of artists. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Talk about the
I mean, I watched my
your you you have a lot of texture, a lot of detail, and I think as tattooers, a lot of times you get dialed in, or we all get dialed in on whatever area we're working on, and we want to naturally like draw attention to that area. Like every area, it can be easy to like want to make every area important and come forward. But in your work, that would be, or in anyone's work, but in your work in particular, that would be chaos, right?
very chaotic.
Yeah. So do you? I mean, are you like intentionally like taking breaks, getting back, squinting, looking at the like, or what's your process for thinking about that?
Yeah, especially if it's like a big piece. Yeah, you need to take your break, step back, really observe what's going on and really make that call like, all right, I'm gonna leave it like that. No more textures on this little area. Because the next layer next to it, it's already super saturated with textures. Or you can also do textures but with a lighter tone. You see what I mean? So gradually it's getting into a very like super soft textures into like dark and then accented. I don't know if it makes sense. Like, yeah, gray wash, mid-tone, and black with highlights and accented. So it gives a transition even of textures, not just all the same, Pretty much once again, I go back to Japanese work because you observe when they do the scales on the fish, what's underneath the water, when the waterway comes in, they're like light gray, you know what I mean? And as he's coming towards forward, they start highlighting it. First they start with white, with black, and then thicker and thicker into a point where it's like, fuck, that fucking scale is so fake, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's with the same, once again, I think it's with the same process and execution, just different style, and yeah. But yeah, I see what you mean. When it's a smaller piece, obviously there's no need to really step back a couple steps, but you get to see it, and yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an important way to look at it. So it's less about the amount of detail or texture and more about kind of the value, like squeezing that value range.
Yeah.
Right. So you're only using the full value range and the parts that you're really trying to drive people to.
Correct.
You can essentially use the same texture over here, but you're squeezing the value range within it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The further he goes into the edge of a tattoo, the lighter he gets somehow, or less lines in it, less accents,
Yeah.
So and that's what it gives it. Makes it look like, way more round, and it gives it more sense of space and everything,
Right.
And it's been working for me now for years. So yeah, it's been pretty cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing that that you do really well that I think is particularly challenging is using color highlights, so a color saturation background in a black and gray foreground. So like when your primary subject matter is all black and gray, but maybe it's backlit with a red or some type of a glowing thing, and it can. I think the reason that's a challenge for a lot of people is it's hard to see where an intense color sits on the value scale. Like you don't know how dark or light that red is, because it's red.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially red, since it's on the lighter values, no matter how dark you put it, unless you really have light to it, but like red tends to be on the lighter values, So it's challenging, but also, yeah, you need to have a sense of where to put it. You know what I mean? Not just all over the fucking place. You don't want to fuck up your focal points or but yeah, it's very interesting to see where you put it. That's why it's important to really observe other artists. In this case, I'm sorry if I just out naming, but like Victor Portugal was doing it for like 20 something years ago. I remember when he used to do these like ochre yellows into his little subtle of color, and I was like, oh fuck. But not just that, but where he put it. It's like that little placement on, I don't know, but like on the jaw,
Yeah.
He was straight up saying, look at the teeth of the skull, So that's where it attracts your attention. So I'm trying to do the same thing, but yeah, those are things that once again comes from these guys that experimented. I think we have it easier, all these new guys that came after that wave, because we're just executing what they did in a different way, in our own ways. But thanks to them, that they brought that out. I'm like, they open your brain into push more ideas out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's another big trick of it is kind of learning where to put, well, let's say the color in a black and gray tattoo, because if it's like an ambient color that's coming from the background that's like that you think, oh, it should bathe forward in the whole foreground, but if you like got that thing into your foreground shape, it would destroy the.
yeah, now you have to use reflective light and all that shit. Now your piece turns into a color piece. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why it's not cool to use so much at the same time. It's mainly to create contrast. And it's just a little bit something different to see. Because if you really go with it and you start using a lot, and I don't know where your background really turns into just color. Now your whole piece, you need to fuck around with a lot of reflective lights and underlights, and just turns into a shit show. But
Right.
yeah, I keep it very subtle at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. What about because you're doing long sessions, you're building a lot of texture, in a single or multiple passes in the same day. What do you think, or how do you think about a couple of things? One, just like working the skin, keeping the skin workable, not overworking it, and then two, like just client management, pain management with like this dude yesterday, all on his ribs.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, Bill, he's a fucking tank, bro. He doesn't complain. It's like you can set him up like fucking upside down, and he'll be like, "Fuck it, this is what you have to do. You have to do it." You know what I mean? So I'm so grateful with clients like that. But I always try to make it as comfortable as possible too. Like, fuck, if we could get a pillow. I mean, Steve brought a pillow from his fucking room. Like, yo, bro, here's a pillow for your chest. And but like in my studio, it's like I have heating pads and I have like extra cushion on my blankets, and I bought like those foams that they're like real fucking thick.
Oh yeah.
So they trying to make it as comfortable as possible for them, and it works. And it's crazy to say this because I saw Jeff at a convention in Pasadena about 10 years ago. His client, he was like wrapped up in blankets except the leg that he was doing that by. And that was like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's nothing new. It's just once again just observing what all these guys are doing. Like, I'm like, I asked him the same question. Like, why the fuck is this guy inside for so long? Oh yeah, you treat him good. A comfortable spot where they're gonna get tattoo on. You know what I mean? And I tend to do a lot of cold water. I use a lot of cold water. And that's why I have heating blankets to compensate. Because cold water, I tend to see that it gets the redness away, the swallowing away, and so I always try to, like in my studio, I legit grab the water from my fucking fridge, put her in my bottle, and it works. Just plain the still water, and it works. It works great, but that's why the heating blanket too. You don't want to do that here,
Right.
But it works. It works great for me,
Yeah. We just did a podcast with a guy, a friend of ours named Kurt Jacobson, who does 3-day. He does a lot of competition tattooing, so he does 3-day projects for Best of Show. And his big thing was like, you want to make sure the client can like have all the blankets that they need and strip down to their underwear if they need to. If they want to be in their boxers with a beanie on, like a stocking cap on, like you just want to make sure that they can like make changes on the fly for their own comfort.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting thought. I've never, I mean, I ask people if they're comfortable and I'll change the heat in the studio, but I don't like prepare for like winter clothes and summer clothes or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean that's a good thing about in your studio you can get them as comfortable as possible. Yeah, getting heaters and all that shit. I don't know, fans, ACs, whatever. But yeah, I mean in this case, in conventions you can't do that. So you have to rough it out. But go ahead.
Do you use any like topicals like Bactine or anything
I
like that?
use Bactine, but almost like at the end. I've noticed in my clients that if I start using it right since the beginning, they tend to like depend on it. So at the same time, I feel like they build their fucking strength, mentally, and they don't even need it. Once again, like Bill, you never asked for like on those 2 days, you never asked like, yo, you got Bactine or nothing like that. We just sitting. He was like, how you doing? He was like, it sucks, but you know what I mean. But I'm ready. I'm like, you need to do 10 hours too. I'm ready. I'm like, fuck, bro. My back can do 10 hours.
Yeah, man,
So
that's a rare class.
once again, I think I'm very lucky with those kind of clients. You know what I mean? They don't ask me for none of that. But I do have Bactine on the side just in case.
Right.
At the end for highlights. That's when I'm like, all right, I'll give you a break. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I wonder if it has to do with your like your look, your style, like the type of clients that you draw in, that they're just like, I'm not tapping out, like just that type of person. That's like, you just maybe draw in that type of client, you know?
I mean, yeah, I mean, these are fucking guys that go into a pit with fucking, all these motherfuckers have spikes in their hands and the jackets, you know? They've been through pain, you know, worse pain, you know? Like I remember one of my clients, I think he went to a metal festival in Finland or somewhere over there in Europe. And he came back with a black eye and a shitload of bruises in his fucking body, you know? Like he legit flew in the day before, like fucking, like, girl, what the fuck happened? You got jumped. I was like, no, I was on the pit. But he only lasted 2 hours that session. I was like, yeah, you're bruised up, bro. I can fuck you up more, you know?
Right.
But yes, I think it has a lot to do with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, so.
But I also have my clients that they're like, bro, this is it. I can't, 3-4 hours, you know? Oh, I get it, you know? I can only sit for like 6 hours at a time too, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Same here. I struggle over long, and I'm getting a full back, like neck to ankle back piece from Andy Chambers. You know Andy?
Yeah, I know.
But so I can fly up in this area and do back-to-back days. By the second, I'm nearly 50 years old. By the second day, like my body hurts. Even if I were not getting tattooed, just being in the position for 2 days, or my body hurts. And so yeah. I mean, I get it. It's funny, you go years, or like for me, I would go years and not get tattooed, and it's easy to forget what you put people through, and then when you start getting tattooed, you're like, oh shit, yeah.
No, I mean, you have to get tattoos so you can have some kind of a sympathy towards the client, because sometimes you forget, and then it's a fucking organic piece you're working on. It's not a piece of plastic, or
Right.
it's something that's alive and it sucks. Yeah, like But yeah, I mean, you toughen up. You learn how to tough up. You don't want to sound like the fucking pussy. And especially with that guy that you admire so much. Like Robert, he tattooed the inner piece of Robert Hernandez.
Yeah.
Tattooed the inner piece, and he was like, every 10 minutes, he was like, "You're good. You want Bactine?" So nah, man, I'm cool. In my head, I was like, "Fuck yeah, put Bactine." He was like, "All right," but but he teaches you to fucking tough up. And he also teach me to learn when the client. Sometimes the client said, "No, I'm okay. Just you don't want to sound like a pussy," but their body's asking for it. So I learned to read that too. Okay, this area I am gonna use Bactine. You know what I mean?
Well,
And when I see him more relaxed, I'm like, "Yeah, he's good."
right.
You know what I mean? You see it when you hit the needle, they tense a little bit. They're like, gets a little shaky. Yeah, he needs Bactine. When they don't, they're just super relaxed. You learn all of that with time, team.
Right.
Sir.
And I assume going back to kind of the process and a lot of the layering that you do, the cold water probably helps you to read the skin a lot and know how far you're going to push.
Sure. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Because it just the swallowing comes down. You know what I mean? I get to see the true value of the tattoo he's gonna achieve. You know what I mean?
Right. Are you from a just a technical standpoint, when you're laying out big shapes, and I assume you're using, like, I'm just going to guess you're using like maybe big mags to start to sculpt shapes and then coming in with smaller configurations, or do you come in and like
Correct.
lay in bloodlines and stuff first a lot?
I use if it's a big piece, if it's like a project, I start with a five Magnum,
Okay.
like to outline everything with my light tones. I don't like lot lines. I feel like like right out the go, you're hurting them, like. So Magnums are a little bit softer, and I don't do an outline. It's like I'm not cutting them open right at since the beginning, because even if it's a waterline, you're still cutting them open. So when I do a 5 Magnum, it's like I'm already building something. You know what I mean? I'm already building texture and whatnot, and I just pretty much draw the shape of it. And then I come back with the big Magnum. It could be a 49 or a 27, depending on the area. To the big shape of mass, the big mass of value, whatever value it is, and then come back with detail with the smaller needle. I usually use either for detail, I use either a liner, 11 or a 9.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Go much smaller than an eye.
Yeah. And people think I use round shaders, but I don't. Because I want the detail to be super sharp when he heals too. And we all know that round shaders are more for softer work. So, but yeah. And in between the 49 Magnums, all the way down to the 5, I use all of them, depending on the area. I'm like, okay, this little area is perfect for a 9 Magnum. You know what I mean? Or it was perfect for a 15 Magnum or a 9 Magnum. I love using 19 Magnums because it's like in between all of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's one of my favorites. Like
Are you using curved or straight mags?
I use only curve. I was never able to fucking tattoo with a flat mask, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I discovered very fast in my beginning of tattooing that I was hurting people.
Yeah.
Like I can't. I don't have a sense of the angle. Like you need to have like a perfect angle for that.
Right.
And I would see fucking tattoo artists like Big for Portugal, like he uses those, like fucking heal perfect. I'm like, oh motherfucker, I hate you, and I just wasn't able to. But good thing that there was another option, so.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't when I started. If there were curved mags, I had never heard of them. We just had flat mags, and I can remember very early in my career when I started, it was a lot of tribal lower back, butterfly, all that
Yeah,
kind of
of
stuff.
course.
And so you line everything, and then I would come in with the side of that mag and try to hit that, fill that taper, and you would see like a little razor cut, like just I was slicing people, like
Same
I
here. That's
struggle
why he's
to,
tough, didn't you?
yeah,
Fucking, well, we sent him to Scarborough, like, yeah, and a B and a fucking VIP ticket. You know what I mean?
right,
I was like, oh shit, that's not right. I can't do that.
right, yeah, yeah,
But usually those little edges, those little tight corners, that's where fucking Scarborough will happen with those magnums.
yep,
And I have, thanks to that, I admire people so much that regardless of style, what they do, people are able to use those. It's like something to admire, and respect. I'm like, fuck, I don't give a fuck if you did a butterfly, but if you did that with that, fuck, I salute you because I can't.
yeah,
You know?
yeah,
But it's good to find. I mean, I'm pretty sure that we tried it and you would achieve it. You know what I mean? But I was like, well, let me see what else is out there. And I got super comfortable with the round mags, and that's what I use.
yeah, yeah. What about like from a drawing and like just design standpoint? I mean, obviously people come to you for a certain thing. Do you ever feel like, all right, I'm kind of like burnt out on this subject matter, and you want to be like, how are you able to like introduce new, different subject matters, different ideas, or do you have any interest, or do you just like to explore the kind of textural, like darker stuff that you've been doing?
Right. Well, in tattooing, it's in the tattooing matter, it becomes repetitive. You know what I mean? It becomes repetitive, no matter, because people exactly that's what they want is that you can do the same fucking skull, and people, if you did a real badass skull, people are gonna be like, I want something like that.
Sure.
So, and if you try to move away from that design, they're like, no, I just kind of want like this one. Because I have shown them like, well, I sketched this, with something. They were like, well, it's I kind of want it more like the one you did before. I'm like, like 2 years ago at the Gods of Ink convention, I legit did the fucking same demon 3 days in a row.
Oh wow.
Like the same face because I went in with I was booked, and I did my friend's head with the demon face on a Friday. The Saturday guy, I didn't know what he wanted. He was like, yo, I want that same thing you did on me. I was like, okay, cool, The Sunday, yo, that guy you did on Friday, I want this exact. I'm like, oh fuck. I enjoyed it, and I showed them something different. You're like, well, how about if we do like tentacles? It will fit the body. I'm like, more like okay.
Right.
So it's kind of move away from it, but in drawing and painting, I'm fucking with other subjects, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going back into like really drawing for me. I think I went a little bit uh commercial in a way you could say, more for the tattoo community, what they like about me. But I was leaving behind what I like about myself. So I'm doing that in painting and drawing, and I've been reconnecting with what I want for me now. Now that I have some kind of a style, if you might call it. So now I'm like, okay, I'm drawing some cool. I started to draw and paint my travel experiences.
Oh,
Like in some of my sketch work that I brought today, I'm drawing like the Castle Gruyères in Switzerland, with some elements of Giger in it. So I'm like mixing it real cool. But it's actually like a moment in time that I was there that I'm drawing.
yeah.
So it's like legit just for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or like the Barcelona fucking church.
Oh yeah, Gaudi Church or whatever.
Yeah, the Gaudi church, So those little moments, I'm drawing them now for me, and they look cool still. And actually people buy some of those. I'm like, dude, okay. So, but yeah, now I'm drawing for me a little bit more, and I'm happy.
Yeah, yeah. Are you doing more like painting, or do you charcoal, pencil, or just that? All right, yeah,
I just rotate because you get burned out of the same,
yeah.
like I just moved studios from LA to the city of Pomona, and this new studio is like huge, so I'm starting to do bigger paintings.
Oh, okay.
So like now my paintings, I'm doing a series of 5 paintings that I haven't shown nothing, but they're about this size.
Oh,
Maybe half of the boot big. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And So yeah, I'm gonna concentrate on that this coming year, and just for me, once again, I haven't shown nothing, but they're gonna be super cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's oil.
Is this your space? Are you joining a group of artists, or is this your
Just
space?
myself.
Just you?
Yeah, I've been by myself for the past 7 years. I've been having a private studio. I was a partner with somebody, Tony, in Long Beach for 13 years. Ink Assassins, Long Beach.
Okay. Yeah.
And you guys go get tattooed over there still. That's my hometown.
Yeah.
And but I went solo. I just needed that space. But I was in LA. LA got super bad, traffic, homeless, you name it, the economy. So I moved to a different city, which is 40 minutes closer to my house.
Oh, okay.
And I got almost triple the space for the same amount of money. So it was like a no-brainer. So now I'm able to paint big because I have triple the space. And I'm still just being by myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? So but I do have guest artists, I have a couple guest artists lined up coming,
Yeah.
And
Nice. Do you? So I guess with that type of move, that doesn't really affect your clientele at all, whether they go into LA or whether they.
yeah, no, when I first moved to Long Beach to LA, I was a bit scared, because LA people, we know traffic how it gets. So they're like, fuck no, they're lazy. But they're like, we're not gonna drive an hour when it's only 10 miles away,
Right.
But yeah, I get to talk to them like, dude, it's just only one day. So I need to drive every fucking day, bro. And they're like, oh fuck, now you made me feel like a dick. So you have to like the reverse psychology in a way. And it works, but it doesn't affect me a lot because I have most of my clients they fly in regardless of,
Right.
Another great thing about the studio where I'm at is that it's 15 minutes away from the Ontario airport. So it's very accessible. You don't have to fly into LA like how they used to.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, well, this is cool, they love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it more.
What percentage of your clients do you think travel versus they're fairly local?
I think about a good 80.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a good 80, because LA, they're still very strong with their roots, which is black and gray, super nice, great wash style, Chicano style, you know what I mean? And they're very still rooted with them, you know what I mean? So it's hard to get a client to get tattoo over there, So when I do conventions like within California, it's like I only book like one person. Like people hit me up, I'm like, fuck, bro. But I know already, you know what I mean? But when I come here to the east,
Yeah.
it's like everybody wants work, but it's because I think because of the roots of that,
Yeah. It's
So,
interesting.
yeah, so locals are very, and which is great, I'm like, I'm happy,
Yeah.
but it's not so good in the aspect of fuck, get more dark shit, I don't want to do a Virgin Mary or I want to do the fucking Bernini statue, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, if money gets real tight, I'll do it.
Sure.
But unfortunately, they don't come to me for that anymore. But
Did you work in that style early on or no?
I mean, it's like almost like if you're from LA, it's kind of like you have to, because the people that come in, if you work at a walking shop, it's like your daily bread. Like you have to learn how to do the roses and the nice soft transition of shades. You know what I mean? And the whole statue work is like, yeah, I've done it. And I'm very proud with the accomplishment that I do. But when that happened or happens still sometimes, I just feel like I went to work.
Sure.
It's like, all right, here's my artist hat on. I'm gonna put my tattooer hat on,
Right.
and let's fucking tattoo whatever you want. Yeah. So the feeling of accomplishment at the end is not there. Just a great job. That's it. But the artistic element of it is like, fuck. I wish you would have let me fucking turn that Jesus face into with the fucking the textures and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like you must in a way in LA because to the traffic that it's involved in that on those areas. You know what I mean? Everybody wants that. It's like I noticed up here in the like right here, just in this convention itself, 90% is color.
Yeah.
If I'm mistaken, I think they only enter like 6 pieces for black and gray.
It's crazy, huh?
I'm like, what the? You go to LA, it's the opposite. It's like 200 people in black and gray.
Yeah.
And then whoever gets is like, woo, that motherfucker got it, bro. He must be like super clean,
Yeah.
Right. And colors over there is the opposite. It's like, oh, 3 pieces for fucking color.
Yeah.
So I guess it's depending on the area, you know, I notice those things, you know?
It is strange, and it's, you know, it's I guess partially east west, but there's a show that's kind of close to me that I've been doing since they started, called Space City, and it's in Huntsville, Alabama, and it's like you're saying on the West Coast. Like I've judged there, and like I would rather judge the color categories because there's only like 10 of them. But if you get caught up in like black and gray, especially large scale black and gray, first off, like all of the pieces are flawless, so it's like you can't pick the best one. It's impossible. And there's like, you know, 75 of them. So you're like, man, I'm gonna be here for 3 hours. Yeah, it's terrible.
I know, dude. But yeah, I mean, it is. That's how I see it. You know what
Yeah,
I mean, but
yeah. I would imagine, but working, you know, being forced to work in that style, especially early on, probably built the skill set that you use a lot now, though. Yeah, right.
yes, I mean, it helped. I mean, for sure, it's like my I keep it in between, like real saturated and not. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because of that LA style. You know what I mean? It's like I'm used to seeing like that redness of the fucking skin being, you know, saturated, but it's almost blood. Everything. But I know it's gonna heal this tone.
yeah,
See what I mean? So I use those other elements in my tattooing. You know what I mean? Not just straight up black and just highlights.
yeah.
Right? Because we know what happens with that. You know. So that's why. But yeah, I'm very highly influenced by the LA style. You know, I just don't do the style. You know, more the technique of right. You know, LA style.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Talking about it becoming, and sorry anyone who hears the main stage. We're just stuck close to the main stage. Uh, Talking about feeling like you went to work rather than, and you don't get the like artistic kind of gratification at the end of the day. I feel that way about anything symmetrical that I have to do. If I only do larger scale stuff these days, but if it has to look the same on both sides, if I have to look and see like what I did here and then try to like pay attention over here, it ruins my day. I'm terrible at.
I know, right? And it feels like you went to work. You know,
Yeah.
which is good because we have a great job at the same time.
Yeah,
You know, but yeah, I think at the end we're looking for that little like, fuck, I did that, bro. You know, that's bull. You know, you just keep looking at the fucking picture you took, and you scroll and you zoom and then for hours. You know, and so even my wife said, "What the why are you on your fucking phone all day?" I'm like, she's looking at the tattoo I did last week. You've been staring at the fucking tattoo for a day, you know. You know, but it's that little need, you know, from an artist, I guess.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, definitely, definitely. So this is probably our key to start shutting it down. So from here, you're headed back home. You'll be home for how long, and what's your next kind of trip?
From here, I'm going home. I'm gonna relax. I'm flying back to New York, to do a guest spot at my friend's shop, Philip Leaky Tattoo in Manhattan. It's that ultra, and you also should be a part of this. I mean, I'm still debating. I want to go to the Josie's Puerto Rico convention.
Okay, yeah.
I want to do that. Cool. And I
Have done that one before?
I did I don't remember if it was the first or second edition.
Okay.
It was really nice, you know? He brings up all these real respectful collectors, you know? It's a great convention, you know, because
That's what I've heard.
they know what it's about, you know? It's a great convention. I haven't been able to go to this in December. You know, you always have like family flying in and all these. It's like my son's birthdays and stuff on those back in there. So it's hard to get away, you know, but I did the first or second edition. I don't remember. But uh hopefully I'm gonna try and make plans to go, you know? And next year, hopefully it's I think I'm trying to hit Asia now. We go to a couple conventions there and one in Europe, hopefully Romania.
Wow, yeah, yeah. It's gonna be, yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I've wanted to. I don't know Yalzi. I've met and podcasted with Thibs before, who I guess is a partner in that as well. And he's a great guy, awesome tattooer. And so I'd love to check it out. But that's the same problem. It's like my fit, like that's right in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and there's just too much happening.
Just the dates, you know what I mean? It's like it's a great convention. I mean, he's put together by Joseph, you know, and I mean he's a great, respectful collector, and he loves the fucking industry. I think more than some tattooers, you know,
Right.
and he knows about the history of it, and then
Yeah.
so it's put together by a real fucking guy that loves this community. You know what I mean? And a community, not industry. You see what I mean?
Right.
So I'm like, but fuck the fucking dates, bro. What need you do it in October or you know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but in a good side is like if you go in December over there, it's like the water is warm and go, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
He has his own reasons. I don't know, but that's the reason why.
Yeah. 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 I understand. Well, man, I enjoyed it. I'm glad we got to catch up. It feels like I haven't seen you in a long time, but I keep up.
No, because the whole fucking
Yeah. Because of the COVID and all that, we just shut everything down for so long. Yeah, like I was saying, walking up, like just podcasting, like in person is like it feels like brand new to me again. It's so much better, so much better. Hey, we're like, yeah. I want to like go find everyone that we podcasted with virtually and like, hey, I'm gonna come to your shop and do this in person. I would rather.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're doing that, going to shops now?
Sometimes, yeah.
That's super dope.
Yeah, yeah.
Great.
I really enjoy that. We can control the sound and the light a lot better. You can like, you're not trying to grab people in between tattoos. So yeah, if we can, it's nice. Maybe tattoo a couple of days and then
If
podcast.
you ever in the LA area, you're welcome to my studio, bro.
Man, I'll take you up on it.
Tattoo or whatever. You know what I mean?
Sweet. Yeah, maybe.
They do amazing tattoos. So
Well,
if
thanks.
you're ever in the LA area, promote us in the LA County.
Okay,
So, but yeah, mi casa, tu casa.
man. Thank you. I appreciate it, dude. I enjoyed it, man. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for supporting what we do. We'll see you next time.
Adios.
Thanks so much to Edgar. Thanks so much to Jesse Smith for having us out to Richmond this year. And thanks to you for watching this episode. I hope that you got some value from it. You can keep up with Edgar at all of the links below. What else? I think that's all. We'll see you next time. Thanks.